Greetings and welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists. The finest in Worst of Lists is recognized by the leading authority on Worst of Lists in the United States, the Top 10 Worst of List Council of Elders, recipient of the Triple Sapphire Award for the last 3 quarters for excellence in Top 10 Worst of Achievements. I'm your host for today's quest, Thor Rosine, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. I'm really pleased as punch. We've been on a tear recently. Top 10 Worst of Lists over the last few episodes has been called out and numerous different Reader's Digest magazine, for example, House and Gardens, Horse and Hound magazine, for recent top 10 worst of lists. Top 10 worst chemicals to sneak into your own town's water supply, top 10 worst after belch tastes, and top 10 worst methods to narc on your friends to the feds have all had letters to the editor submitted to each of those publications, which has created a buzz of top 10 worst of topics are on the lips of and inside the mouths of many people are articulating the fine excellence and commitment to integrity of top 10 worst of lists is what I'm trying to tell you. Today's list is no exception. It's sort of I like to think of it as fairly astounding. Top 10 worst ideas for reality shows. Yeah, right? You're already licking your chops at the mere thought of it. How great this list is going to be is impossible to tell, but if my instincts are correct, I'm thinking this could be one of the top, maybe 3 or 4 top 10 worst of lists we've ever presented. Before we get to that, just a couple things to clear the air. Number 1, I'm not down with any of this partisan hackery and whatnot. I just think that people are being indoctrinated. Machiavelli came up with this sort of divide and conquer stuff about 600 years ago, and you're still falling for it. Isn't that great? And the minute you just start to you paint large swaths of people with broad brushstrokes and dismissing them en masse, I'd just like to remind you that that's the gateway to bigotry. And if you might think that you're, down with bigotry, okay. But otherwise, you might want to just sort of check yourself before you rickety wreck yourself, as it were. And then finally, there's going to be a lot of stuff here that might not necessarily be 1,000% totally 100% accurate. I'm doing the best I can, but a lot of this stuff will go into conjecture. A lot of this stuff is going to go into opinion. And, I'm thinking that you should probably, if you hear something that you don't trust or believe in, or it goes counter to your particular programming from the totally independent resource that you rely on for your independent knowledge and mimicry, which is what it really is. Did I say that? Did I do that? Did I say that out loud or just thinking? So, but hey, look it up for yourself. There's only one. You should be doing this all the time. You shouldn't need me to tell you this, but you should be. Because none of the people that, if they got a mainstream level of distribution at this point, you have to at least consider the probability that they're lying to you. They're creating some sort of social engineering type of device to brainwash you into being a mindless and obedient drone. There, I've said it. Now, finally, we've got some commercials that are essential to be done here to make sure that we keep the lights on here. Top 10 worst of list headquarters. From the producers of the Vagina Monologues, a very popular stage play of the 90s or something like that. Now comes the pee-hole monologues. Finally, a little bit of equal time for the male proboscis on the stage. The pee-hole monologues goes into all kinds of different elements within from the pee-hole perspective. It's pee-hole monologues. And then from the people who brought you American Idol, now comes Payola Idol. Stars manufactured to feed venues owned by the star manufacturers, a.k.a. Live Nation. And their pals over at iHeartRadio that used to all be combined into one company owned by the Mays family, which now serves the family of which members of the family which now serve as interlocking directories within the two corporations. In other words, there's members from the same family in both companies, so it's really the same sort of company, pretty much. Even though they were told that they needed to split up and operate independently by the federal government, but who the hell cares about that? But you got all the money in the freaking world and nobody paying attention. I mean, that helps. Speaking of penis size, why should we? Another sponsor of today's show is the penis size hula hoop. Now available for, get all the exercise, get yourself all, you don't have to necessarily revolve around chemical, introducing chemicals into your system in order to be able to get that robust strength that you once had back in your salad days. With pee-hole size hula hoop, not only is it fun, but it's also great exercise for the shaft. It's a shaft-centric exercise, which is proud to be a lot more power and potential in the boudoir. It's penis-sized hula hoops. And, from the makers of the greatest selling party game of all time, Pin the Tail on the Donkey, now comes a game designed to kind of even the playing field amongst racial-oriented party game. It's Pin the Tail on the Honky. Put a blindfold on, twirl around, and try to pin the tail on a variety of honkies. Stephen Miller, Elton John, Colin Powell. It's Pin the Tail on the Honky. And then finally, from the makers of, the producers of the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, now comes Planes, Trains, and Auto Asphyxiation. It's riding around with two guys, just manly men, putting their hands in between their ass cheeks for comfort and solace, and getting down with a little bit of sexual oriented asphyxiation and choking out each other at the moment of climax. It's sex, planes, trains, and auto asphyxiation. All right, so let's get on with our list for today. It promises to be such a great one. It's top 10 worst ideas for reality shows. Let me fluff my hair, the humidity. Once again, playing havoc with my coif. Yes, now we're talking. That's the way I like it. That's the way, oh yes. Maximum spread eagle. Maximum spread. I don't like it until I get a wingspan on my hair of at least 16 to 18 inches. And who doesn't like a 16-incher? Especially for softball. Now, top 10 worst ideas for reality shows. Number 10. The show title, My Favorite Dawn of the Dead Mall. Okay, now Dawn of the Dead, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's top 5. No doubt. The top 5. Especially, I snuck into a movie theater where I was underage to see the thing. And it was a life-changing event for me, the original Dawn of the Dead. And as it would be for any tiny little kid watching that stuff. At a time when there was no other stuff like that. Nothing. It was a pioneering effort from Gus was it Gus Grissom? Gus Gruesome. I think the astronaut, Gus Grissom, who blew the airlock on the landing module prematurely, was the director of Dawn of the Dead. The concept behind my favorite Dawn of the Dead mall is a real life Dawn of the Dead, okay, which the movie was, they're like the living people are stuck in a mall with a bunch of living deads, and the concept of this reality show would be you lock a bunch of people into a shopping mall with 100 ravenous cannibals, and they're like, all bets are off, and so that I think is going to be a big seller. I think it'll be a Learning Channel, maybe Discovery Channel, maybe Fox Network. Anybody? Bueller. All right, number 9 of the top 10 worst ideas for a reality show. The show title will be DMV Survivor Concept. Castaways are abandoned in a poorly staffed DMV and tasked with the nearly impossible goal of getting help correcting mistake on their mailing address. Ooh, wait a minute. Well, let me introduce my co-host for today's show. It's cheap/free online sound effects. That's right. That's right. Amazing. So, castaways are abandoned. This is an impossible task. There would be no survivors at the DMV Survivor Concept. But hey, what the hell? If there's one thing that America loves, it's a frickin' bloodbath of like middling level, middle class nobodies. Number 8 of the top 10 worst ideas for reality shows. Show title would be My Favorite Blunt Instrument. The concept would be a group of players, okay, all of whom have that dangling fat that dangles off the bottom of their arms, like you go like that. It's like whoop-a-doop-a-doo, and it's like a pool full of jello. And they race around a home improvement box store in search of the ultimate blunt instrument to bash show host Ryan Seacrest into a puddle of human slurry. And who doesn't want to see that? Ryan Seacrest in a pool of his own blood. Yeah. Oh, such a gorgeous, beautiful release. That would be finally be set free of the bounds of that white cracker sellout grifter. Number 7 of the top 10 worst ideas for reality shows. The show title will be Try That in a Small Town Jumbo Escape Room. And the concept is that country singer Jason Aldean is the host, where a bunch of hipster northerners, right, are unleashed, from Pacific Northwest maybe, perhaps, are unleashed in a small town where the goal is to avoid being shot, killed, terrorized, or tortured until they can make their way out of the town's city limits. Based, of course, on the song by, I think it was Jason Aldean, of Try That in a Small Town, which is basically calling for the lynching of lefty liberals. I mean, but why would that song get any spins? I mean, the level of underlying hatred within our society is suboptimal. I think that's fair to say. I hate to go on the muscle like that, but I think in this case, it's justified. Justified. All right, so number 7 of the top 10 worst ideas for reality shows is to Try That in a Small Town Jumbo Escape Room. Number 6, his show title is Humble Bragging with the Hausfraus. It's Humble Bragging with the Hausfraus. The concept would be this show features a large coffee clutch of suburbanite housefrows who get to humble bragging about how modest they are, about how great they are, until the level of smarm gets so extreme that super violent catfights bust out. The one with any amount of their original hair still planted in their scalp at the end of the show is the winner. Number 5 of the top 10 worst of ideas for reality shows is in part sponsored by Planet of the Wet Doctors. Planet of the Wet Doctors. I'm sorry, I've got nothing. I don't know who came up with, who put this on my list. Somebody's been messing with the list. Well, I guess, I don't know. It's a planet with doctors that are wet. And they do stuff to help people get healthy while being wet. I guess, I can't help you. It's Planet of the Wet Doctors. Get off my case, you frickin' jerk off. Number 5 of the top 10 worst of reality show concepts. Its show title is Disney World's Rumble Concept. It's concept is a dozen street gangs from all around the country are turned loose in separate themed areas, Disney World's Magic Kingdom, and given a variety of hand-to-hand combat weapons. The gang that manages to get one of their members to both ride on and survive the It's a Small World After All ride wins. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Or at least pretended to be dead. Top 10 worst of ideas for reality shows. Number 4. The show title is Survive the 405 Alive Show. The concept is 20 drivers are put behind the wheel of a car that has no air conditioning and are simply tasked with commuting on an average evening's rush hour between the Victory Boulevard and Redondo Beach Boulevard exits. The first person that traverses that stretch of highway without killing anyone wins. It's just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. I'd like to see Bruce Springsteen try something like that with all his romanticizing of being on the road. So turn that into a mansion of glory. Number 3 of the top 10 worst ideas for reality shows. This one's the real. This one doesn't get me at full attention, but it gets me to half-mast. Show title is My Big Fat Obnoxious Facelift. Concept: Beverly Hills snobs and stuck-up Hollywood stars get a combination of freshen-ups or fully go under the knife to shave off, reshape, relocate, or puff out various components of their birth face for bragging rights and or creating a bargaining chip for their upcoming deal memo negotiations with the Hollywood moguls. It's My Big Fat Obnoxious Facelift. Sundays at 9 p.m. on the WB network. They're going to reinstate the entire WB network for just that one show every week. Number 2 of the top 10 worst ideas for reality shows would be a show title, Avoid Showcase Oprah Interview. Concept is players are treated as though they have just become famous either for accomplishing something or getting a juicy role in a Hollywood movie that was primarily given to you because your father was Skull and Bones with the studio head. The player that avoids getting a special edition showcase vanity interview with Oprah for the longest wins. But be careful. She's crafty. False alarm. Oh. All right, and finally, the number 1. If you can believe it or not, we just blew through this topic. because I needed the money. It's top 10 worst of what is it? Ideas for reality shows. Number 1. The show title is Minority Guest Pass to Whites Only Country Club. The concept: the producers of the show give a day pass to a minority for use at a exclusionary Mr. Charlie Country Club. The player has to navigate security, dodge spit, make water in the tree lines, and still somehow complete the back 9 of the course without getting snuffed out. The player with the lowest golf score while avoiding getting cross burned on their lawns wins. Well, there we go. I don't know about you, but I've really had a lot of fun doing today's list. I can't imagine anything even more fun than what was going through here. Just so great. Really was. And I did one time. My idle hands, like you can't see off camera, have not felt the genitals, not even once. That's a first. I'll tune again tomorrow for another edition of Top 10 Worst Ofs, provided I live long enough to be able to do one. It's Top 10 Worst Times to Kill and Cook an Endangered Species. Don't forget to come on back. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for being you, and I can't remember. Oh, wait, there's one other one.